Hey everybody, what's up? It is Friday, November 6th. What a great week. Actually, I read that this was the best week since FDR, since the 1930s. Unbelievable. And again, on Monday when I sent out my MMT Trader report, that was the headline. I said we're going to have a big rally, a post-election rally. And I said that bullish sentiment is going to have a sizable increase. And we did start to see some of the bullish sentiment pick up this week in the AAII survey. So anyway, we still have the election situation. Look, Biden is going to be declared the winner. We got to accept that. It's interesting that the media has not called the election by now. I mean, it's pretty clear in the trend of the vote count. So I think the market is already looking past this. Today, the Dow was off a little bit. The S&P was flat. NASDAQ was up a little bit, but they recovered from early morning sell-offs. The big picture, back to the big picture once again. Fiscal support at record levels. I don't see anything. Oh, by the way, we had the job report today. I think what was it, 631,000 or something like that on the payrolls. That was a little bit better than the expectation. I think they were looking for 550,000. So economic data continues to show slow improvement. We're going in the right direction trend-wise. And again, the fiscal flows basically forecast all this. I'm trying to explain to you guys that these flows really drive everything. I mean, this is what flows to income. This is what flows to profits. And again, it's unfortunately not all equally distributed, but the stock market doesn't really care about that. It cares about profits. So I don't see anything in the flows, although I would say one little thing that I noticed, which is corporation income tax flows. They kind of plateaued out. In other words, they're not in a rising trend year over year as they were like a week ago. They kind of flattened out. I don't think that's anything really negative. I don't think that's necessarily flashing a warning sign, but it's something that I'm going to continue to pay attention to. Clearly, if those corporation income tax flows start to trend down, then that would be somewhat of a cautionary sign. But right now, they're more or less flat. They're not rising year over year. They are up relative to last year, but it's not a rising trend. It's a flat trend. So as long as it stays flat and not start to go down, then I think we're okay. Individual income tax flows, they're rising. And that is an indication of improving earnings, improving incomes, all right? So that's a positive right there. Gold had a huge day today, which is, I think, very telling, because as I've been saying now for the past few weeks, that producers have been selling gold above 1900 in the 1930, around the 1920, 1930 an ounce level. They've been steady sellers. I noticed on the CFTC Commitment of Traders report that just came out this afternoon, I noticed that last week on that dip in gold, they were buying, okay? They were buying, and it wasn't just short covering. They were buying. So, but the gold ran up nice today, and it looks like that's also speculators coming back into the market. The speculative commitment, the long commitment to gold in the last several weeks has been quite low. So if they start coming back in, if these speculative funds start coming back in on the buy side, we definitely can see 2,000 again. Bitcoin been running up. I may start to follow that because it's been pretty interesting. The dollar. Now, how many times have I been saying on these videos, you have to sell rallies in the dollar? You have to sell rallies in a dollar. The dollar only benefits when you get the risk-off trading environment, when people get scared, when it's a flight to safety. But the underlying fundamentals for the dollar are bearish. You know, you got record trade deficits, you got record fiscal budget deficits. You got to sell. I mean, I've been saying this. I say this all the time. And, you know, we closed very weak this week on the dollar, and the trend is down. Now, that trend will only reverse, you know, long term when we start to see a narrowing in those fundamentals, when we start to see a narrowing in the budget deficit, when we start to see a narrowing in the trade deficit. We're probably a long way from seeing that happen. So the dollar is in a downtrend, and you have to sell rallies in the dollar. I've been saying this. Now, a lot of people don't have patience, and also they see the dollar run up, and when it runs up, it tends to run up very sharply, and they're like, oh, see, the dollar bull market is back. We're gonna buy the dollar, king dollar, the dollar's going up. You have all this stuff, and you know, I'm just there, sell, sold, sold, and then it drifts back down. But that's a classic kind of bear market. You know, it's like the opposite of a bull market. The corrections, right, they're really sharp, and everyone gets scared and they sell and they go short, and then what happens? It starts to creep back up again, creep back up again, creep back up again. The bear market's exactly the opposite. It goes down real slow, it creeps down, and you have these spike rallies when everybody, oh, look, it's turning around. We got to jump back in. No, that's when you sell it. You just sold, 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 and it comes back down again. I say this all the time, you guys. You know? So, there it is. I took a look at the banking data. I'm going to have all that stuff in my report, of course, which will come out on Monday. But again, I didn't see anybody really predict a large post-election rally as I did. You know, I put that up there on Twitter. I clipped it out from my report. It was right there on the headlines. I talked about it. I wrote about it in the report. I didn't see too many people who had that. Like, everybody was talking about, you know, turmoil and this and that. And they're still talking about that election turmoil, and it's negative and it's bearish. And I said, you know, that's a very naive and unsophisticated, amateurish viewpoint. I mean, what is the underlying fundamental that you should be paying attention to? That's the fiscal flows. And, you know, they're at record levels. I mean, what more can I say? When that starts to turn around, we could have a different conversation. But until that starts to turn around, the market's going up. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. See everybody on Monday. Have a nice weekend. Bye.